Welcome back to Fiction Flux. I know it's been a while since we started a brand new fanfiction, but today we're trying something different. What if Female Deku had the power to rewind time after deaths? A power that lets her return to the past every time she dies, remembering everything that happened before. Let's not waste time and get started. Izumi Midoriya had always believed that heroes were people who saved others. Not people who survived. But on the day her life truly began, she learned something terrifying. Heroes sometimes have to die. Izumi stood on the rooftop of Aldra Middle School, the cold wind brushing against her messy green hair. Her hands trembled slightly as she stared at the city skyline. Quirkless, that was the word the doctor had used years ago. The same word Bakugo used to mock her every day. Face it, Deku, Bakugo had laughed earlier that day. Someone like you could never become a hero. The words echoed in her mind. Izumi clenched her fists. I'll prove you wrong. But fate didn't give her time to prove anything. Because that evening, while walking home, the street suddenly erupted into chaos. A giant sludge villain exploded out of a sewer pipe, grabbing people at random. Cars crashed. People screamed. Heroes rushed in, but the monster was too unstable. And then, Izumi saw him. Bakugo, trapped inside the sludge. Kachin. Without thinking, Izumi ran forward. Just like the original timeline. Just like destiny wanted. But this time, the story ended differently. The sludge villain's massive arm shot forward. Crack. Pain exploded through Izumi's body. Her vision went black. The last thing she heard was Bakugo shouting, Deku. And then, silence. Izumi opened her eyes. She gasped. What? She was standing at the exact same street corner she had walked through 10 minutes earlier. The sky looked the same. The shops were the same. Even the same old man walked past with his groceries. Izumi's heart pounded. Did I faint? But then she saw the clock above the convenience store. 6:41 p.m. The exact same time as before. A strange chill ran down her spine. Then suddenly, boom, the sewer exploded again. The sludge villain emerged once more. People screamed again. Izumi's breathing stopped. This already happened. Her mind raced. She had just died. But somehow, time had rewound. This kind of ability is often portrayed in anime as a return by death mechanic, where the user resets to a previous point while keeping their memories, allowing them to change the outcome of events. Izumi stared at her shaking hands. Did I go back in time? The sludge villain grabbed Bakugo again. Everything was repeating. The same words, the same screams, the same chaos. But this time, Izumi moved differently. She ran down a side alley, climbed the nearby railing, grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall. And when the villain turned, whoosh, white foam blasted across the monster's face. The sludge villain staggered. Bakugo dropped to the ground. Seconds later, Detroit smash. A powerful gust of wind blasted the monster away. All Might landed in the street. Just like the original timeline. Except this time, Bakugo was already free. All Might stared at the scene. Young lady. Izumi collapsed to her knees. Her entire body trembled. Because she had just confirmed something terrifying. She could rewind time after dying. But that meant only one thing. To change the future, she would have to die. Again, and again, and again. Days later, Izumi stood at the gates of UA High School. Her eyes looked calm, but her mind was exhausted. Because she had already lived through the entrance exam 5 times. The first time, she died protecting a civilian. The second time, a robot crushed her. The third time, she failed the rescue test. Each death sent her back to the same checkpoint. The same morning. The same exam. But every loop gave her knowledge. Experience. Strategy. This kind of temporal reset ability allows the user to learn from repeated timelines, making different decisions each time to eventually reach a better outcome. By the 6th attempt, Izumi finally smiled. This time I'll pass. She walked through the gates of UA with quiet confidence. Because every mistake, every failure, every death had already taught her exactly what she needed to do. But Izumi didn't realize something yet. Every time she died, something else in the world remembered her. Something watching from beyond the timeline. And soon, that thing would start hunting the girl who refused to stay dead. Izumi leaned against the metal fence outside UA, staring at the massive gates in front of her. Students around her were excited, talking, laughing, showing off their quirks. But Izumi looked tired. Not physically, mentally, because for everyone else, today was the first time taking the entrance exam. For her, it was the 6th. She rubbed the back of her neck and muttered quietly, "Okay, Izumi, this time no dying." The first time she tried the exam, she panicked and got crushed by a giant robot. Second time, she got reckless trying to save someone. Third time, she misjudged the 0-pointer. Fourth time, she saved too many people, but forgot to destroy robots. Fifth time, she died because she was simply exhausted. Every time she died, she woke up the same morning. Same alarm, same breakfast, same walk to UA. Like the world pressing a giant reset button. At first it terrified her. Now she was getting used to it. Too used to it. She stepped forward as the gates opened and students flooded into the arena. "Welcome to the UA entrance exam." President Mike's loud voice echoed across the stadium speakers. Izumi cracked a small smile. Yeah, I know the speech already." She whispered it along with him under her breath. 3, 2, 1, go. The moment the doors opened, students rushed inside. Explosions, ice, speed quirks. The battlefield instantly turned chaotic. But Izumi didn't rush in blindly like the first attempt. She calmly walked to the right side street. Because she already knew something everyone else didn't. The robot patrol pattern. First one appears in 12 seconds. She leaned casually against a wall. 3, 2, 1. Crash. A 1-point robot smashed through the corner exactly where she predicted. Izumi jumped forward and grabbed a metal pipe lying nearby. Smash. The robot collapsed instantly. She grinned. Okay, that was satisfying. Ding. She blinked. Huh. For a moment she thought she imagined the sound. But nothing appeared. No screen. No message. Just silence. Weird. She shrugged it off and moved deeper into the city. Robots appeared one after another. And thanks to her previous loops, Izumi knew exactly how to fight them. Where their weak spots were. When they spawned. Where civilians would get trapped. It felt less like an exam. And more like replaying a game she already beat. 10 minutes later, she wiped sweat from her forehead. Okay, I've destroyed way more robots this time. But she froze when she heard a familiar scream. Help, Izumi sighed. Right on schedule. She ran toward the sound. Just like the previous loops. A girl with brown hair was trapped under rubble. Ochako Uraraka. In the earlier timelines, Izumi tried to save her but failed. Either the robot arrived too fast, or she ran out of time. But now she knew exactly what would happen next. She lifted the debris quickly. You okay? Ochako blinked in surprise. Why, yeah. But the ground suddenly started shaking. Both girls looked up. Izumi groaned. And here comes the big guy. The 0-pointer rose above the buildings like a giant metal titan. Ochako's face turned pale. We should run. But Izumi didn't move. Because every previous loop taught her something important. The problem wasn't the robot. The problem was timing. She grabbed Ochako's hand. Trust me. Ochako looked confused but nodded. Izumi pulled her down a narrow alley. 3 seconds later, boom, the 0-pointer's foot crashed exactly where they had been standing. Izumi exhaled slowly. Okay, good, still alive. Ochako stared at her. How did you know that was going to happen? Izumi laughed awkwardly. Lucky guess. But the ground trembled again. The giant robot was turning toward them. Ochako's voice shook. Izumi, we're not going to survive that. Izumi looked up at the towering machine. And for the first time since the exam started, her confident expression faded, because she had beaten the robot once before. But that timeline ended badly. Very badly. She whispered quietly, "Let's hope I don't have to reset again." And then she ran straight toward the monster. Because sometimes the only way to survive the future was to charge directly into it. Izumi ran toward the giant machine before her brain had time to panic. Every instinct screamed that this was a terrible idea. But she already knew something most of the other students didn't. The zero-pointer wasn't meant to be defeated. It was there to scare everyone away. And in every previous loop, that fear made people hesitate. Hesitation was what got them hurt. Izumi, Ochako shouted from behind her. Izumi didn't turn back. She dashed between fallen debris as the giant robot's shadow swallowed the street. The ground shook with every step the machine took. Her mind replayed the previous timelines like a fast-forwarded movie. First loop, she ran straight in and got crushed. Second loop, she tried climbing the robot, also crushed. Third loop, she tried pulling someone out, the arm hit her. Fourth loop, Izumi winced. Yeah, let's not repeat that one. The robot lifted its massive leg again. Crash. Izumi slid under the falling debris just in time. Then she saw it. The same girl from before. Another student trapped under concrete. Different from Ochako. Different timeline. But the same situation. Izumi cursed under her breath. Of course. She rushed over and lifted the rubble enough for the girl to crawl out. Go, run. The girl scrambled away. And just like that, boom, the robot's arm smashed down exactly where Izumi had been standing. Dust exploded everywhere. Izumi jumped back, heart pounding. Okay, this thing really hates me. She looked up at the massive machine towering above her. For a moment, she considered running. Because technically, she didn't need to fight it. But then she noticed something. Mori students trapped. Some frozen in fear. Some injured. And suddenly, the memories from the previous loops hit her. The faces of people she failed to save. The screams. The moment she died watching someone else get crushed. Izumi clenched her fists. No, even if she died again. She refused to leave them. She sprinted forward. The zero-pointer's head rotated toward her. Its red sensors locked on. Target detected. Izumi grinned nervously. Yep, that's me. She jumped onto a fallen truck and launched herself toward the robot's leg. Climbing it wasn't easy. The metal was smooth and the machine kept moving. But she had already done this before. She knew exactly where to grab, where to step, where the gaps in the armor were. She reached the knee joint. Almost there. Suddenly the robot shook violently. Izumi lost her grip. She slipped and fell. Her heart stopped. What? For a split second she thought. This was it. Another death. Another reset. But instead, whoosh, her body suddenly floated. Izumi blinked. Huh. Ochako was standing below her with her hand raised. Got you. Izumi slowly descended to the ground. She stared at Ochako in disbelief. You just saved me. Ochako smiled nervously. Well, you saved me first. For a moment, the chaos around them faded. Just two girls catching their breath in the middle of a battlefield. But then, crash, the robot's arms slammed down again. Izumi grabbed Ochako's wrist. Move. They ran down the street as the giant machine chased them. Ochako glanced at her. You're weirdly calm for someone being chased by a skyscraper. Izumi laughed breathlessly. You should have seen the other timelines. Ochako blinked. What? Izumi froze for a moment. Nothing. They turned another corner. The exam siren suddenly blared across the city. Times UP. The robots powered down instantly. The zero-pointer froze mid-step. Silence spread across the battlefield. Students slowly realized the exam had ended. Izumi leaned against a wall, exhausted. We survived. Ochako sat beside her. You were amazing out there. Izumi shook her head. You should see the 5 times I died doing it. Ochako laughed, thinking it was a joke. But Izumi didn't laugh. Because she wasn't joking. And as the students walked out of the training city, Izumi felt something strange. Like the air had shifted. Like someone, or something, was watching her. Watching the girl who kept coming back from deaths. And somewhere far beyond the timeline, something had finally noticed her ability. And it was very curious. Izumi walked out of the training city with the rest of the students, trying to act normal. Which was harder than it sounded. Most people around her were talking about how intense the exam was. Did you see that giant robot? I almost died. My quirk barely worked. Izumi scratched her cheek awkwardly. Yeah, same. Except for her, that robot wasn't just intense. It was a memory. Several memories. Different versions of the same moment, playing over and over in her head. She glanced back at the testing field one last time. At least this time I didn't die. Ochako jogged up beside her. Hey. Izumi jumped slightly. Oh, hi. Ochako smiled. You were amazing back there. Izumi rubbed the back of her neck. I just got lucky. Ochako shook her head. No way, you knew exactly where to move. It felt like you could predict everything. Izumi forced a laugh. Haha, yeah, intuition. If Ochako knew the truth, she'd probably think Izumi was insane. Because the only reason she looked calm in danger was because she had already died there before. Several times. They walked toward the exit gate together. For the first time that day, Izumi felt a small bit of relief. The exam was over. The timeline hadn't reset. That meant she was still alive. Which meant she had finally cleared the first step without dying again. But then, a strange sensation crawled down her spine. Izumi stopped walking. Wait, Ochako turned around. What's wrong? Izumi looked around the area slowly. Students were leaving. Teachers were gathering near the arena. Everything looked normal. But something inside her chest felt wrong. Like a faint echo. Like the world itself had twitched slightly. Ochako tilted her head. Izumi. Izumi whispered quietly. Something changed. And then it happened. For just a split second. The world flickered. Not visibly, but Izumi felt it. Like reality itself had skipped a frame. Her heart started racing. That's new. In all the previous loops, time only reset when she died. But this felt different. This felt like something else touching the timeline. Far away, in a place that didn't exist inside normal time. A figure stood in complete darkness. Countless timelines stretched around it like glowing threads. And one thread stood out more than the others. A timeline that kept breaking, resetting, repeating. The figure reached toward it slowly. Interesting, because one human girl had done something that almost no one in existence could do. She had broken the natural flow of time. And now, something ancient had finally noticed her. Back outside UA, Izumi shook her head. I'm probably just tired. Ochako laughed. Yeah, that exam was crazy. They continued walking toward the exit. But Izumi couldn't shake the strange feeling. Because deep down, she knew something had changed. Until now, her ability was just a survival tool. A way to retry when things went wrong. But starting today, her power might not just affect her own life. It might affect the entire timeline. And if something out there had truly noticed her ability, then the next time Izumi died, she might not come back alone. A few days later, Izumi sat on her bed staring at the ceiling. The UA acceptance results still hadn't arrived yet. For most students, that wait was nerve-wracking. For Izumi, it was complicated, because she had already experienced 6 different versions of this week. In one timeline, she failed. In another, she passed, but died during a villain attack the next day. In another, she never even made it home from the exam. Izumi rolled onto her side and groaned. I hate timelines. Her phone buzzed suddenly. Ochako had sent a message. Results are out, did you check? Izumi sat up instantly. Already. Her heart started beating faster. In the previous loop, results came 2 hours later. But this time they were early. Another change. Another difference. Izumi grabbed the envelope sitting on her desk. Her hands trembled slightly. Okay. She opened it. The hologram projector activated immediately. A giant image of All Might appeared in her room. Izumi nearly fell off her chair. Why are you so loud? All Might laughed. Because I have great news. The hologram leaned closer. You PLASSED. Izumi froze. What? You passed the entrance exam with excellent rescue points. Izumi stared at the hologram in disbelief. Even though she had seen this moment before in other timelines. Hearing it still felt unreal. I got into UA. All Might grinned. You did. Izumi's shoulders finally relaxed. Okay, good. For once, something had gone right without dying first. But then All Might's expression changed slightly. There's something else. Izumi blinked. Something else? You showed incredible courage during the exam. He smiled warmly. The way you ran toward danger to save others reminded me of a true hero. Izumi looked down at her hands quietly. If only he knew how many times she had failed before getting it right. How many deaths it took to learn what to do. All Might continued. I believe you have the heart of a hero. Izumi whispered softly. I hope so. The hologram faded, leaving her alone in the quiet room. She stared at the acceptance letter for a long moment, then smiled. Zue, her dream, finally within reach. But that strange feeling from earlier hadn't disappeared. That flicker in reality, that sense that something had changed. Izumi stood up and walked toward the window. Night had fallen over the city. The light stretched endlessly across the skyline. Maybe I'm just overthinking. She was about to close the curtains when everything froze. The wind stopped. The city lights stopped flickering. Even the sound of distant traffic disappeared. Izumi slowly turned around. Hello? No answer. But then, a voice spoke. Not from the room. Not from outside. From everywhere. So you're the one. Izumi's body went completely still. Who said that? The air in front of her rippled slightly, like reality itself bending. Then a dark silhouette slowly formed in the center of the room. Not fully human. Not fully shadow. Just a presence. Watching her. Studying her. Izumi's heart pounded violently. What are you? The figure tilted its head slightly. You are unusual. Izumi took a step back. You're the thing that noticed the timelines. The figure chuckled quietly. Very perceptive. It slowly circled around her. Most humans die once and disappear. But you, its voice lowered. You keep coming back. Izumi clenched her fists. It's my quirk. Is it? The figure stopped in front of her. Or is it something else? Izumi didn't answer. Because deep down, she wasn't completely sure anymore. The figure looked toward the window. The timeline around you is unstable. Each death weakens the barrier. Izumi's stomach dropped. Barrier? The figure turned back toward her. If you continue using that power, something worse than me might notice. Izumi frowned. What do you mean worse than you? The shadow smiled faintly. You'll find out. And just like that, the world snapped back to normal. Sound returned. Wind moved again. The city continued as if nothing had happened. Izumi stood there breathing heavily. Okay, she whispered to herself. That definitely wasn't normal. But one thing was clear now. Her ability wasn't just a convenient reset. It was something far more dangerous. Because every time she died, the timeline cracked a little more. And eventually, Something might crawl through those cracks. Izumi didn't sleep that night. How could she? A shadowy thing had literally appeared in her room, talked about timelines breaking, and then vanished like it never existed. She sat cross-legged on her bed, staring at the acceptance letter from UA. "Okay, Izumi," she muttered to herself, rubbing her temples. "Step 1, get into the best hero school in Japan." She lifted the letter. "Step 2, survive the weird time-breaking horror story that apparently comes with your life." She sighed. Easy. But deep down, she knew things were changing. Until now, her rewindability had been simple. If she died, right arrow time reset. Painful, terrifying, but predictable. Now, something else new. Something outside the normal flow of time. And that meant one thing. Her deaths were not private anymore. The next week arrived quickly. UA's massive gates stood open as hundreds of students walked toward the campus. Izumi stood in front of them, staring up at the huge building. "Okay," she whispered. "New timeline, new life." She stepped inside. Students flooded the courtyard. Some showing off quirks. Some bragging loudly. Some already forming groups. Izumi noticed Ochako waving from across the courtyard. "Izumi, over here." Izumi walked over with a smile. "Hey." Ochako looked excited. "I still can't believe we got in." Izumi chuckled. "Yeah, same." They walked together toward the classroom building. But the moment Izumi stepped through the hallway doors, her body froze. That feeling again. The timeline glitch. A sudden chill crawled up her spine. There it is again. Ochako blinked. "What?" Izumi shook her head quickly. "Nothing," but she could feel it. Something watching. Something studying her. Class 1A's door slid open. Students filled the room quickly. Bakugo was already there, sitting aggressively in his seat. The moment he saw Izumi, he scowled. "It's you." Izumi smiled awkwardly. "Hi, Kaken. Don't call me that." "Okay." The class slowly settled down. Then, the door slammed open. A tired man walked inside wearing a sleeping bag. "Sit down." Everyone went silent. Aizawa dropped his sleeping bag on the floor. "I'm your homeroom teacher, Aizawa Shota." He stared at them lazily. "And we're skipping the ceremony." Several students groaned. Aizawa pulled out a bag of gym uniforms. "We are doing a quirk assessment test." Izumi blanked. Already. In previous timelines, she remembered this happening. But something felt slightly different. Like the script had changed. Aizawa continued. "If you place last, you're expelled." The room exploded with shock. Izumi sighed quietly. "Yeah, that part never changes." The students rushed outside to the training field. The tests began quickly. Running, grip strength, ball throw. Everything felt familiar. Izumi moved calmly through the tests. She knew exactly what to expect. But when it came time for the 50-meter dash, something strange happened. Izumi stepped up to the starting line. The whistle blew. She ran, but halfway through the sprint, reality flickered. Just for a split second. Izumi stumbled. "What?" The world snapped back instantly. Students kept running. Nobody else noticed. But Izumi stopped at the finish line, breathing heavily. That wasn't normal, because her ability only triggered when she died. But this time, the timeline had glitched while she was alive. Aizawa watched her carefully. "Midoriya." Izumi looked up. "Yes." You hesitated. She scratched her head nervously. "Sorry." But Aizawa's eyes narrowed slightly. Because he had noticed something subtle. For a moment, Izumi had looked like someone who had seen the future. Later that day, Izumi sat on the dorm balcony watching the sunset. Her legs dangled over the edge. Something's definitely wrong. The shadow's warning echoed in her mind. Each death weakens the barrier. Izumi whispered quietly. Barrier between what? As if answering her question. The air behind her shifted. She didn't even turn around. It's you again. The shadow figure slowly appeared beside her. Watching the sunset. You are progressing faster than expected. Izumi crossed her arms. You know, most people knock before entering someone's balcony. The shadow chuckled softly. You should be more concerned about your power. Izumi looked at it seriously. Explain. The figure pointed toward the sky. You rewind time. But time does not like being rewound. Izumi frowned. That's vague. The shadow's voice lowered. Every reset leaves a scar. And eventually, it looked directly at her. Something will crawl through those scars. Izumi felt a chill run down her spine. You mean something worse than you? The shadow smiled faintly. Yes. Then it vanished again, leaving Izumi alone with the wind. She stared at the darkening sky. Great. Her rewind ability had helped her survive. Helped her pass the exam. Helped her reach UA. But now she finally understood something terrifying. Every time she died, she wasn't just resetting the timeline. She was breaking it. Izumi sat quietly on the dorm balcony long after the shadow disappeared. The city lights flickered below UA like thousands of tiny stars. Normally, this kind of view would make her happy. Tonight it didn't. She hugged her knees and sighed. So basically my life is a time travel horror story now. The wind brushed through her green hair. For a moment she wondered something she had never really thought about before. What would happen if she chose not to rewind? If she simply accepted death and let the timeline continue without her? Izumi shook her head immediately. No, too many people needed saving. Too many things could go wrong. If she had the power to reset mistakes, then she had a responsibility to use it. Even if it meant dying. Even if it meant breaking the timeline a little more each time. She stood up slowly and stretched. Okay, enough existential crisis for one night. Inside the dorm building, students were laughing and talking. Life was normal. Too normal. Izumi walked back into the hallway, but before she reached her room, the same cold feeling returned. The timeline glitch. Everything went silent. The hallway lights froze mid-flicker. Even the air stopped moving. Izumi closed her eyes and groaned. Seriously? When she opened them again, the shadow figure was standing at the end of the hallway, watching her. This time Izumi didn't panic. She just crossed her arms. You really like dramatic entrances, huh? The shadow slowly walked closer. Your timeline has already begun to fracture. Izumi rolled her eyes. You keep saying that, but you never explain what's actually going to happen. The figure stopped in front of her. Very well. It raised a hand. The air in front of them distorted. Images appeared like shattered glass floating in the air. Different timelines. Different versions of Izumi. One where she died during the entrance exam. One where villains attacked UA and she failed to stop them. One where she survived, but the world burned anyway. Izumi stared at the broken timelines. These are all futures. Possibilities, the shadow replied. Izumi looked closer. Some timelines were stable, but others were completely destroyed. Entire cities gone. Heroes dead. Something massive towering over the ruins. Her stomach twisted. What did that? The shadow's voice dropped. Something that lives beyond the normal timeline. It pointed toward Izumi. And every time you rewind, you bring it closer. Izumi's hands clenched. So what? I'm supposed to stop using my power? The shadow was silent for a moment. Then it said quietly, "That is your choice." Izumi laughed softly. Yeah, right. She turned toward the balcony window again. You saw the same timelines I did. If I don't rewind when things go wrong, people die. Her voice became more determined. I'd rather break the timeline than watch everyone suffer. The shadow studied her carefully. You really are reckless. Izumi smirked. Future number one hero attitude. For the first time, the shadow actually laughed. Very well. The frozen hallway slowly returned to normal. Lights flickered. Sound came back. The shadow began fading away. But before it disappeared completely, it said one last thing. Just remember this, Izumi Midoriya. Every reset brings the hunter closer. And then it was gone. Izumi stood alone in the hallway again. She exhaled slowly. Hunt is her. Instead of fear, a small determined smile appeared on her face. Good, because if something was hunting the girl who refused to stay dead, then it had just made a very big mistake. Izumi Midoriya wasn't someone who ran away from danger. She ran straight into it, even if it meant dying again. And again, and again, but somewhere far beyond the timeline. Something ancient had already begun moving, because the girl who could rewind time had unknowingly started a war against fate itself. And the next time the timeline reset, the enemy waiting on the other side might finally step through. That's it for part 1. Hope you enjoyed this fanfiction. Let's set a like target of 30 likes for this video. If we hit the target, I'll upload part 2. Share your thoughts in the comments and tell me what you think will happen next. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fiction Flux. Thanks for watching.